Welcome everyone. In this video, I am going to discuss about Born-Haber cycle, which is used to describe the formation of ionic compound using Hess's law. Let's discuss it in detail. Born-Haber cycle mainly used to describe the formation of ionic compounds. And by means of this Born-Haber cycle, it is possible to calculate the lattice energy using the Hess's law. And lattice energy cannot be calculated by any other methods, and this is the only way, that is Born-Haber cycle is the only way to calculate the Born lattice energy. If you look at the Born-Haber cycle, it involves lot of energies like sublimation energy, ionization energy, bond dissociation energy, electron affinity, lattice energy, and heat of formation, and all those energies are involved during the formation of the ionic compound. Let us discuss each and everything one by one. Before that, let's first discuss what is Hess's law. And Hess's law states that the energy change in your overall chemical reaction will be the sum of the enthalpies of the individual reactions. That means the enthalpy of the reaction does not depend on the pathway of the reaction that takes place. Let us let us discuss this example, that is A plus B gives rise to product. See, the energy of the reactants is given here and the product is given here. Since the product energy is lesser than the reactant's energy, the reaction must be exothermic. And the enthalpy that comprises for this conversion will be mentioned as delta H. In case if the reaction takes place in multiple steps, for instance, A plus B initially reacts to form a intermediate, that is C, and the enthalpy that corresponds to the conversion will be given as delta H1, and C will be converted into D and the energy will be given as delta H2, and D forms E and the respective energy is given as del H3, and E that forms F, and F is converted into G, and finally G is converted into the product. So whatever the pathway may be, the overall delta H will be the summation of all the individual delta H. So that's what it is given, that is the overall chemical reaction, that is the enthalpy of overall chemical reaction is equal to the sum of energy changes in the individual reactions compressing it. You can see this, the delta H of this reaction will be the summation of the individual energies of all the steps. The same concept we are going to apply it for the Born-Haber cycle to describe the formation of ionic compound. Now let us discuss about the 5 important processes that takes place during the formation of an ionic compound. First, let us discuss about the sublimation energy. We know that the sublimation is the conversion of a solid phase into a gas phase, and sublimation energy is defined as the energy that is required to convert 1 mole of a solid substance into a gaseous species. Since the energy is supplied, it is an endothermic reaction, and we know that the sublimation of solid carbon dioxide is one of the example, and sublimation of camphor is another example for the sublimation process. See, just if we look at the energetics, the solid is directly converted into gas, and since the energy of the gaseous species is high, the delta H of this process will be positive. That means it is an endothermic reaction. The second important process in the formation of ionic crystal is bond dissociation, and the bond dissociation energy is defined as the energy required to break the covalent bond into a pair of radicals. Since the energy is supplied, the process is endothermic. And bond dissociation is of two types, that is homolytic and heterolytic. In homolytic, the shared pair of electrons will be equally taken up by the respective atoms, leading to the formation of the radicals. In heterolytic, one atom will taken up both the shared pair of electrons, resulting in the formation of anions and cations. Here we are going to focus on the homolytic cleavage. Look at this, the energy of the radical is higher than that of the respective atoms, that is respective molecule. The delta H of this process will be positive. That means the process is endothermic. Now let us discuss about the most important step in the formation of ionic crystal, that is the ionization of metal into its cation. And the energy involved in the process is known as ionization energy. And it is defined as the energy required to remove an electron from the valence shell of neutral gaseous atom. See, since the energy is required and the process is endothermic in nature, that means when we supply the ionization energy, the metal ion loses its electron from the valence shell to form the metal ion. You can see in the diagram, that is by the to release this energy, release this electron, ionization energy is required. Since the energy of the ion is higher than that of the respective metal atom, the del H of this process is positive. That means endothermic reaction. In case if it is a divalent ion, there will be two ionization energy, that is first ionization energy followed by the second ionization energy. We know that second ionization energy is always higher than that of the first ionization energy. Now let us discuss about the formation of anions, and the energy involved in the process is known as electron affinity or electron gain enthalpy. It is defined as the energy released while adding an electron into a neutral gaseous atom. Since the energy is released, the process must be exothermic. See that while trying to add an electron into the neutral gaseous atom, the energy is released and the released energy is known as electron affinity. So if you look at the energetics, we can clearly say that delta H is exothermic in nature. And please note down, this is only for the monovalent anions. In case if the formed anion is divalent, the case will be different. That is, the first electron affinity is always an exothermic process, but the second electron affinity is a endothermic process. You can see from the diagram. Now let us discuss about the lattice energy, and it is the energy that is released while bringing two oppositely charged ions from infinite distance to closer to form the ionic compound. Since the energy is released, it is known as it is an exothermic process. In other words, we can define lattice energy in the opposite way, that is the energy required to break the ionic compound into its respective anions and cations. And in this case, it is an endothermic process. See, this diagram clearly shows how the ionic compound is formed. The formed anion and cations are coming closer for the formation of ionic compound, and the energy that is released during this process is known as lattice energy, and the energy is clearly so this is an exothermic process. So far we have discussed about sublimation energy, bond dissociation energy, ionization energy, electron affinity and lattice energy, and when we bring all these together we will get the Born-Haber cycle that explains the formation of an ionic compound. Now let us discuss about the formation of sodium chloride using Born-Haber cycle. For the formation of 1 mole of sodium chloride, it requires 1 mole of sodium solid and 0.5 mole of gaseous chlorine molecule. And the enthalpy involved in this process is known as the formation enthalpy of sodium chloride, as it is mentioned here. Now let us discuss how this sodium solid and chlorine gaseous molecule reacts to form the solid sodium chloride by means of various steps. In the first step, the sodium solid is sublimed to sodium gas by receiving the sublimation energy. Look at this, the solid is converted into gas. And in the next step, the chlorine molecule will be dissociated into chlorine atom by absorbing the bond dissociation energy. Since we have taken only 0.5 mole of chlorine molecule for the formation of sodium chloride, it requires only half the amount of bond dissociation energy of chlorine. And in the next step, the formation of sodium ion takes place by absorbing the ionization energy. See, while we supply the ionization energy, it removes the valence electron of sodium to form sodium ion. and the released electron will be taken up by the chlorine atom to form chloride ion, and the energy is released at this case. Look at this, the energy released will be equivalent to the electron affinity. So now sodium ion and chloride ion are formed. When we bring these two closer, that will form the sodium chloride crystal. See, while bringing these two ions, that is the sodium ion and the chloride ion closer, the energy is released, and the released energy is known as the lattice energy, as we discussed earlier. Now, as per the Hess's law, the formation constant, that is this delta HF, the formation constant of delta HF will be the summation of all the 5 energies. In this, out of these 5, the first 3, see that these 3, that is the sublimation energy, bond dissociation energy, and ionization enthalpies are endothermic in nature, and these two energies are exothermic in nature. You can see from the diagram also. See here, just look at here, the sublimation energy is endothermic, bond dissociation is endothermic, ionization energy is endothermic. On the other hand, electron affinity as well as lattice energy are exothermic in nature. If we know all the parameters like formation constant of sodium chloride, sublimation energy, bond dissociation energy of chlorine, and ionization energy of sodium, electron affinity of chlorine, we will easily calculate the lattice energy of sodium chloride, because there is no direct method for the calculation of lattice energy of an ionic compound. Now let's see a problem for the calculation of lattice energy of sodium chloride using the following data. The sublimation energy of sodium is given, the bond dissociation energy of chlorine, the ionization of energy of sodium, electron affinity of chlorine, as well as the formation enthalpy of sodium chloride is given. So we know 5 parameters, and we know that it is a very simple calculation. According to Hess's law, we know that the enthalpy of formation of sodium chloride will be the summation of all the 5 energies. Please note down, we have used only 1/2 parameter for the bond dissociation energy of chlorine. See, look at this, it is bond dissociation energy is given as 244 kilojoule per mole. If it is 1 mole of chlorine atom, we can take this value 244 as such. Since we have taken only 0.5 mole for the formation of sodium chloride, we have to divide the bond dissociation energy by 2. Now we can easily calculate the lattice energy. If we slightly rearrange the formula, by substituting the value, we can clearly calculate the lattice energy for the formation of sodium chloride. And we can plot the same in the diagram. Look at this, the sublimation energy, bond dissociation energy, as well as the ionization energy, all these are endothermic in nature, as well as on the other hand, electron affinity as well as the lattice energy are exothermic in nature. So Born-Haber cycle is very much helpful for the calculation of lattice energy of an ionic compound. Thank you so much for watching the video. In my next video, I'll be talking about the Born-Haber cycle of magnesium chloride as well as calcium oxide. If you have any doubts or queries with respect to the Born-Haber cycle of sodium chloride, please leave a comment or contact me over mail. Thank you.